Okay, so today, what does our title say?
Cubic feet, cubic yards.
Cubic feet and cubic yards. Okay, so anything cubic is talking about what?
Area.
Squared is area,
Oh, yeah.
and cubed is one more dimension, volume. So we're talking about the volume of dirt, really, when we're talking about farming, right? So today we're going to be using volumes, the volume formula still, but we're dealing specifically with property or planting and soil type stuff. Okay, so we have we've created a sod business, okay, and we're going to use different formulas to help us um, know what we need. So we've purchased 20 acres of land on which to grow sod. Cherry Valley, that's the name of our company, will have to build up the soil before planting. They will place 4 inches of top dressing over the entire acreage, of which 25% will consist of fertilizer and peat, and 75% will be topsoil. Okay, so all of that is there on your thing. What of that information do we actually need? Well, it depends on what question it's asking. So it says, how many cubic feet and cubic yards of top dressing will be needed? Okay, so it told us the top dressing needs to be 4 inches deep, and then it tells us what percentage the makeup is going to be. But we're only being asked how much we need. So the square footage is our first step. Okay, we first have to figure out the area that we need. So determine the square footage of an entire 20 acres. Okay, and then it gives us this very important number here. Okay, so 43,560 square feet equal 1 acre. So if that equals 1 acre, then to get 20 acres, we need to multiply that by 20, right? That's what they did in this problem right here. So we got 871,200 square feet of area that we need to cover. And how much do we need to cover? How deep do we want to cover it? 4 inches. So notice, because this is in feet, we have to use the same unit. Okay, so we need to convert inches to feet. Okay, it's 4 inches out of 12 inches. This equals how much of a foot it is. Okay, so that equals 1/3 foot when it gets simplified, right? Okay, but notice that they didn't simplify here at all, but that's, okay. So we know that we need the volume, we know the area, which was already our length times width. Okay, so this is not this times length times width. This was already what we got. This was length times width. We already got that part. So it's just showing you that for your formula, length times width was this area that we figured out up here. Now we have to multiply it by the height, okay, which is what we substituted this in for. So when you put that all on the calculator, you get this fraction, but our calculators would automatically reduce that for us to what? So this 290,400 cubic feet. And previously, but here they give it to us again, okay, 27 feet cubed equals 1 cubed yard or 1 cubic yard, which means that if we're going from feet The yards, feet is larger, which means we have to divide to get yards, right? The feet number is larger, I mean here. But is feet or yard, is 1 foot or 1 yard bigger? 1 yard is bigger. So that means if our unit is in feet, to get it in yards, we're going to have to divide because there should be fewer yards, right, than feet. Does that make sense? So the answer in cubic yards is that number we got there in cubic feet divided by 27, which gives us 10,756. So be sure that you read the problems and make sure you're using the same units. Okay, if it says 4 inches deep, then make sure that you convert it to your feet, however many inches out of feet, before you use it. Here for number 2, they kind of remind you to use 2 out of 12. Okay, so read your problems. Okay. Answer it on Go formative, as always. Use the correct unit. Okay, you can use the cube. I mean, you don't have to use the cube for it to be correct. Okay, that's it. That was the notes from the other day. So that's the only. So I want to actually talk about the very top one on the back, number 5. Because this is where that percentage comes into play. Okay. So the 2 inches of special topsoil will consist of 25% fertilizer and peat and 75% high-grade topsoil. The ratio of mix converts to 1/2. So 1/2 inch fertilizer and 1.5 inches of high-grade topsoil. So how did they get these conversions? How deep did they need it total? 2 feet? Or 2 inches? Sorry, not 2 feet, 2 inches. So for the fertilizer, 25% of that 2 inches, so 0.25 times 2 is where they got the 1/2 from. Okay, that's how they got this number. They gave it to you so you wouldn't have to know how to do that. Okay, and the 75%, well, you know those equal 100%, so you could take the 2 inches and minus 1/2 and get what remains. Or you can take 2 inches and times it by 0.75, and that's where you get the 1.5 from. Okay, or the 3/2 if you're going to keep it in fractions, either way. So then it tells you to use that formula for the cubic feet. So you've got to know your answer from the previous problem, and you're going to multiply it by the you're going to multiply it by the 0.25 or the 0.75. And then don't forget to divide by 27 because it's actually asking you for cubic yards here. Okay, so there's multiple steps in this problem that you're going to have to think through to get your final answers here. Okay. And tomorrow, starting tomorrow, you will not meet in this classroom. We've got a special thing that we're doing, and we'll be set up in the old elementary school in room 112. So you need to meet there the rest of this week, starting tomorrow, and Monday and Tuesday of next week. We'll be over there. Okay, so for a full week, we'll be over there.